Hi there everybody, as per usual, it's Dave here from HeyUGuys. Today I'm joined by the wonderful Jon Lyus.
Hello, bonjour everyone.
And the amazing Scoticus J. Davis.
Hello everyone. Hello.
And today we are going to be talking about Star Wars Celebration, which happily and handily happened over the 4 days that are Easter. So that meant we had to work over Easter. Hooray! But, you know, it's Star Wars, so what they say goes. But it looked pretty cool. We weren't actually there, but we did keep track of everything that was going on the panels. So today we're going to talk a bit about the 40th anniversary panel. We're going to focus heavily on The Last Jedi and everything that was revealed there, and then anything else that we may well have learned. So Jon, do you want to start off just with our 40th anniversary panel, who was there, and what it was all about, really?
Well, it's interesting because this being the 4th anniversary panel gave the celebration a different flavour that it's had in previous years, because 2 years ago, when it was all about The Force Awakens and the fact that Star Wars was suddenly coming back and Disney had control over it, and we were all excited to see the first new Star Wars film in God knows how many years, it was a very different flavour, because even last year when they had Rogue One, that seemed to be the focus. This year, the focus was on the 4th anniversary initially, and then it kind of moved to The Last Jedi. Having Mr. George Lucas rock up at the start of the panel was pretty fantastic. There were rumours that he was going to be there, but of course, since Disney bought it, Lucasfilm, he's kind of distanced himself from it, and I think he had to come back.
If for the 40th anniversary, if he wasn't there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, he would have done, and he told he told some fun stories about it. But it's interesting to see that he doesn't seem to have the pressure that he had when he used to speak about it. You watch old interviews and you watch things like production interviews where he just, it's almost as if he's not weary of it, but there's a lot of weight on his shoulders. And now I think he can sort of sit back a little bit and just enjoy it. Even though he doesn't look that happy in a lot of the photos that came out, any of the photos. But you know, it's this is his baby, and this is his family. So it was nice to see. Obviously, we had Harrison Ford come out as well, which was great. Warwick Davis was the guy who was leading it. He was a fantastic host. And it was just
George
a really nice start to it.
He's got a smile.
He's happy in that one. He's saying, "You do realise that you still want to get paid," Harrison Ford said. And he's like, "Yep, that's all good."
So one of the things that made me laugh during the 40th anniversary panel was when Warwick Davis introduced Harrison Ford and said it was astonishing that they were able to keep it a secret after he landed his aeroplane on the I-94, which I found very amusing. And Harrison Ford laughed too, which I thought was good and very brave of Warwick Davis.
But what was really interesting was when Hayden Christensen came out, because he obviously, is a huge part of the prequels, and it's his performance that, aside from Jar Jar Binks, that was a sort of subject, the target for a lot of the vitriol and the hate that sort of goes around about the prequels. I do think it's starting to turn around a little bit now. I think people are starting to forgive the writing, which is what I think is the main problem with the prequels, and they're starting to see a bit of love coming back for them, because we're no longer in the prequel era, we're now in the sequel trilogy era, so it can be quite nice, and he can come back on stage and bat off all the jokes about sand and wave and everything. And there's also rumours going around that he is going to appear in some way in The Last Jedi as a Force ghost, because his character Anakin Skywalker is obviously still part of the Star Wars mythology going forward with Kylo Ren. So it was fun. I mean, it was a good panel. I think people really enjoyed it, and it was quite a light beginning for what turned out to be quite a busy weekend. And there is everyone.
It's pretty cool, isn't it? Happy. I mean, that photo there is obviously Carrie Fisher not there, but represented by her daughter Billie Lourd in the top left there. But yeah, it was just nice to see everybody back together again. And John Williams did a set with his amazing orchestra. If you haven't watched, it's on the Star Wars Celebration live stream, and it's absolutely stunning. So you need to check that out.
And one thing you can also see on the site is a tribute to Carrie Fisher, which is, it was with a heavy heart that everyone was kind of going into this, knowing that this was the first time that she wasn't going to be around for such a celebration, and she's such an iconic part of it. And in the Force Awakens press tour, she was easily the best and the funniest, person on that tour. So, she's missed tremendously, but the tribute was a lovely thing.
Yeah, it was. Whoever put the footage together did an absolutely beautiful job of it. And again, if you haven't seen that, you should check it out. It's on the website. But let's move on to The Last Jedi, which was announced and they had the panel for at Celebration. Scott, do you want to just tell us a bit about Last Jedi, what it is, and what was revealed?
So, Last Jedi, as many of you will know, is the sequel to Force Awakens, and they had their own panel on, I think it was Friday, wasn't it? I think it was Good Friday that the panel happened, that had very funny modulator in the form of Josh Gad, who many of you will probably know that has been stalking, well, not stalking, but he made Murder on the Orient Express with Daisy Ridley, and during the shooting he was trying very desperately to get Star Wars information out of her, even using Dame Judi Dench to try and get information out. So I thought it was really cool when he came out. I thought that's really cool that they're kind of, you know.
I think Disney and Josh Gad, they love each other, don't they? Cause
yeah, they love each other, don't they? Yeah.
What's the character name in Frozen?
LeFou. He's LeFou in Beauty and the Beast.
He's Olaf, isn't he?
Olaf,
yeah.
that's
Frozen,
it.
Yeah. But I think that obviously came off the back of his Instagram fun that he had, that even Dame Judi Dench, and then I think he got Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard and a few other people in there, didn't he? So that was a nice touch.
I had friends on that Death Star. That's quite good, that t-shirt.
But yeah, it was a good panel. Obviously, I think it was Kathleen Kennedy, who was obviously prominent throughout the first 2 days, and Rian Johnson, the writer-director of Last Jedi, was there as well. He'd actually queued up with the fans the night before, which was fun.
So
he went out and saw
I wasn't sure exactly what he'd done, because I heard them reference that in the panel, but they didn't actually say at the panel what he did. They just said, that's a really cool thing that you did.
If you were following it on Reddit, you got to see a load of people who were in the queue, basically, you know, taking selfies with him, and he told some guy in the panel, I hope you really enjoy the trailer. This was the night before it hit, and nobody, of course, knew there was going to be a trailer. Everyone thought there was going to be.
Everybody know there was going to be a trailer.
There had to be something, because this is the thing, we had seen nothing at all, and this is not like The Force Awakens where you have to tease it over a year in advance. This was so many questions that everyone had, and this was the first chance we had to have a look and see what direction Rian Johnson was going to go into it. So what did you think of the trailer?
I liked the trailer, and I tell you why I like the trailer is because
Tell us why, Scott.
It was a teaser that tells you nothing but tells you everything at the same time. There's no context to anything in the trailer, which I liked. As a teaser trailer, you don't want to be seeing things that potentially would spoil what's happening. Mm-hmm. I thought it did a good job of setting up the Rey and Luke dynamic that's obviously going to play through most of the film, with her doing her Jedi training in the Jedi Temple, and Luke. Even the end of the trailer where he says the Jedi have to end. For me, I mean, it's a big statement, but obviously I was thinking, now is that edited for the trailer? Is that edited to make a statement for the trailer rather than what the film is actually going to tell? Because it would be quiet. They're keeping so much of it quiet, and they've done such a good job of keeping it quiet that this might be a tease that isn't actually anything. It's just a way to, it's just part of the kind of the trailer to say the Jedi have to end.
But if you look at if you look at the tone of the trailer, it's mainly, it's like a really difficult birth. And that sounds really strange, but you have fear and you have things breaking up. There's so many things that are destroyed in the trailer, and it's almost as if this is what this new, the last two films of this trilogy are going to do. It's going to be a case that J.J. Abrams set up the world again and gave us this, all these characters that we knew and introduced new ones, and now we're going from that to something perhaps a lot darker, perhaps something new and a bit unusual. He's talked about the film in the past saying it's very weird, and I think this was a perfect trailer to say, you think Star Wars, and here are some of the things that that are familiar to you, but actually we're going to do something very different. It's really weird because the opening of this trailer was very similar to the opening of the very first Force Awakens trailer, where you had John Boyega's head popping up after like a static shot of sand for ages and kind of a voiceover. There's a very dreamlike quality to some of the early stuff in this new trailer, because it had some audio clips from previous films in there as well. So if you're looking at when Rey sort of like you can see on screen now, when she's having this moment and she's clearly come out of possibly another one of those flashback things, and then under that you've got Leia's voice when she appears on screen, and you've got Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and so part of their speeches from previous films kind of comes in here, and it's really interesting to see what kind of thing he's building. So I don't know, and it just seemed like a quite an interesting, quite a dark, but a kind of understated beginning for The Last Jedi. Would you agree with that, Dave?
There was a lot of darkness in the trailer. There was basically just crossfades between each scene, and that's what some people I spoke to have criticised it for. You don't actually really see anything, but I think Scott summed it up really well in that it shows you nothing but everything. So it gives us lots of chance to speculate as well, which is quite a nice thing to be able to do, I guess, because a teaser trailer where it shows you the entire plot of the film and gives you nothing to wait for is a bit of a waste, I think, which is what happens so often these days in modern day movies.
So did you guys hear there's a fan theory going around the internet about the trailer? There's a scene in there where the camera pans around the cliff face, and on the cliff face you see Rey with her lightsaber, and Luke's kind of just above her.
That one there.
That one there. And people have zoomed in, and do you see on the left there? You see that little stand-up rocks. Yeah, on the top there's a little one. People are speculating that might be Yoda.
Oh no!
And when they zoomed into it, it had a very Yoda-like kind of look to it. Yeah, which I think there's obviously been these rumors about, because in the Jedi Temple we might see, as you said earlier, Hayden Christensen might see Yoda, might see Ewan McGregor in there as well as Obi-Wan, possibly Liam Neeson, potentially. I mean, it's just it's all theory and stuff. But there was about a month ago or 2 months ago, there was a thing with Frank Oz, and he'd been asked about Last Jedi, and he sort of said, no comment, can't really, no comment on whether I'm Yoda's back or anything like that. But
sure,
in a Jedi temple and everything else, there's nothing to say that isn't Yoda, and it's purposely quite a far away shot. I'm not saying that's because Yoda's there, but it's a really cool shot. But you never know. It's a very tiny rock. It could be Yoda. You never know.
But surely, if he was there, wouldn't he be sort of bluey and glowy and not sitting on some sort of rock that Rey could whack him off with her lightsaber? That's quite a dangerous thing.
But you've just zoomed in on. Look how much it looks like Yoda, sitting there with his arms crossed.
It could be a teddy.
Like
maybe it's an Ewok.
I've just sent you. Oh God, can you imagine?
It's an Ewok. Yeah.
That would be great. That's really weird. Out of all the fan theories that came out of the trailer, I would never have expected there to be that on there. Well, okay. So Yoda sightings.
It's got you thinking now, anyway, hasn't it?
It's got me thinking. It'll never happen. I do think he is going to turn. I do think he is going to turn up though, because this is all about the Jedi, and obviously the Hayden Christensen rumor that he's going to turn up as well. So why not shove them all in? Bring back the Ewoks. I think it'd be fun.
We did see footage of Carrie Fisher on set as well, didn't we? They released some images, and there was footage as well, which was quite moving actually, and quite sad that she won't be. But they've said that they're going to use archive footage, which I assume means footage they've shot on set.
Well, no, I think that there was a rumor that she was going to be in episode 9, and then Kathleen Kennedy said on the last day, no, actually that's not going to happen. So I imagine that what's going to happen is she's just going to appear in this as was shot, and then that's going to be it for her, which is a real shame. But getting back to the trailer, one of the things that was really interesting is the shot of because they're inside this big force tree, it looks like, and there have been some leaked set pictures of Act 2, which is the planet that Luke and Rey are on, and there's a shot of a book, the front page of a book with a sort of a Jedi symbol on it, and it's actually the same symbol that's on the poster as well. And this may well be the Journal of the Wills, which is that was mentioned in Rogue One with what's their names, Chirrut and Baze, being guardians of the wheel of the Wills. And it's almost as if what's happening is Rian Johnson's going a bit further into the lore of Star Wars in order to kind of break out a little bit, and that's what this points to. It was very heavily put in there, not only in this but also in everything we know about The Last Jedi. They're sort of going a bit deeper, and there's a lot of discussion online about what a grey Jedi might be, good and bad, and it could well be that the line at the end is Luke saying, well, I trained as a Jedi, everything went wrong, I made it right, and then I stood in a cave for 30 years, and then everything just went wrong again. So it's almost as if what's the point about being a Jedi if everything's just going to go crazy every 30 years?
So you think he's throwing his toys out the pram?
Well, no, I think
he's turned into a grumpy old man, a grumpy old Jedi.
Yeah, pretty much. But if he's the last one, then he's tried to build up this whole new Jedi, academy, and it just got burnt to the ground, which is another shot that we see in the trailer, which incidentally looks very similar to the shot in the second Force Awakens trailer, where the mechanical hand is put on R2-D2. That it's almost as if he's just had enough of it, and he's saying, what we're going to do now, because every time we try and do anything, it just all goes wrong. So maybe there's this notion that all this history, all of this lore, all of this Sith, Jedi, whatever, the Force is going to become something new. It's going to mean something more to people, and to Rey, and to and to the future of the franchise. I don't know. These are the kind of things, that and Yoda sitting on a rock, are the kind of things that we're thinking about. What about that lovely new planet that we saw? The AT-AT walks in the distance, and then those bizarre B-wings sort of going over those salt plains and ripping up all of that red stuff. That was a beautiful shot.
It was, yeah. Apparently, well, from what I read as well, that's them. The red smoke and stuff is them setting some sort of like a I don't know,
smoke screen?
A blanket for smoke screen. That's the word for what's behind them. That's what I'd read online, that it's a smoke screen for whatever is approaching behind them.
Interesting.
Either that, or it's the Star Wars version of the red arrows.
Maybe it's just like a big
ceremony,
like a big
it's the
ceremony.
Queen's birthday. It's Queen Amidala's birthday. And they're just
That was a cool shot. I liked also the thing I liked about the trailer was that it didn't show too much of Kylo Ren doing stuff. They've kept a lot of his journey, because I think his arc is very, very interesting, because obviously he's now kind of taken the dark side, obviously killing his father and everything else.
Or has
there's still, I was gonna say, there's still a grey area with him, which I like.
He's had enough. I was shocked to see him at Star Wars Celebration.
Solo. No, he's never coming back. He's never coming back. But I liked with Kylo Ren, the fact that it's still unsure which way he is going to land in the end, kind of thing. I like that there was only that one shot, and they kind of hid his scar. You could kind of see his scar, but not really. So I thought that was kind of cool that they focused on, because it is going to be about Rey and Luke for the most part, and as you say, the Jedi journey and whether it ends or changes or whatever. But I liked that they kept a lot of Kylo Ren action, if you like, quote unquote, to literally one shot of him holding his lightsaber. So that was, again, shows us his anger, intent, but also shows us nothing. So that was
given that this is the second film of a trilogy. We know that there's going to be a third one coming. Basic storytelling demands that everything's going to start going wrong at the end of this. And given the fact that Poe Dameron races towards his X-wing that gets blown up again, dude's insurance must be terrible. Every single time he gets near an X-wing, it just blows up. There's and the Jedi Academy burning down, and everything's going wrong. It does seem that we're going to venture into slightly more perilous territory with this one. What I'm really interested to see is Kelly Marie Tran's role in it, because she was the one that's been talked up so much by Rian Johnson in pre-production, and her new character, who we found out is called Rose, is supposed to be this technician, maintenance worker who's just on a base somewhere, and she becomes suddenly one of the heroes of this story. And it's interesting because we needed that in The Force Awakens. We needed new heroes, to sort of take us forward, and we're getting that again with this film. And I'm wondering, because Rian Johnson's talked her up so much, I do wonder how much of the film is going to be focused around her journey. And I think that'd be really interesting, because she's an interesting looking character, someone who's not a Jedi, someone who's pretty lowest of the low in terms of the hierarchy, but I think she could be quite fun.
Yeah, it was this. This is the first time I've heard that she's in it as well. It's good that they've got another character like that that's going to be part. She may well be with Finn for some of the movies. She might be with Poe Dameron, but it's nice. But I also like the fact that we still haven't seen anything to do with Laura Dern's character or Benicio del Toro's character. They're keeping them very, very quiet, which is good.
Is it good though? Because I got kind of annoyed that they didn't show it, and that's just my expectations not being met, which is my fault entirely. But I kind of wanted to see just a little more, something a little new, because we didn't see Kelly Marie Tran's character in the teaser.
It was just that one image they released on screen.
But I do wonder if this must serve the purpose of bridging the gap between, you've had The Force Awakens, and the very first trailer for that was just a number of shots that had no context at all, And I think this is a kind of a similar affair, even though you do have the whole end of the Jedi, question mark at the end. It's a brilliant trailer because it gives you so many questions, and there's still so much more to find out about. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing, hopefully, maybe San Diego Comic-Con or D23, they might do another one.
I think Comic-Con, they don't do anything for Star Wars anymore. I think that's because they have Celebration instead, so I don't think we'll see anything there. Maybe around that time they'll release a trailer for it.
I don't know, because I think October is when it's all going to kick off, I think, but because that's when we had the big trailer for The Force Awakens. But if you think that Han Solo movie is coming out in May, they're going to have to start kicking that into promotional gear.
That's true.
A bit earlier. I know
I was going to say, I'm just working out on my fingers here, mathematics. It's 8 months till thing. So if we've had one now, May, June, July, so August, end of August time,
so
beginning of September, will we get? Maybe that's when we will get a new trailer. But when's D23? Because that would make much more sense.
I think it's earlier. I think.
Yeah, maybe it'll just be halfway down at the end of the summer once all the big movies have come out.
14th to 16th of July.
Yeah, okay. I'd read as well that Last Jedi trailer is going to be with Guardians, isn't it? In US or in cinemas.
That would make a lot of sense. So
you will get to see it on the big screen as well. But I'd say they've kept it very quiet up to this point and done very well of keeping it. Pretty much everything about it. It's strange going into such a big movie not knowing a lot, and I wish that many other people did that. And it's the same. I mean, it's the same with Guardians. Every TV spot or anything that's been going around, it's been pretty much the same bits of footage, apart from little bits here and there. But it's good that they, I'm really becoming tired of trailers that give away pretty much the whole movie from front to back.
Yeah, so we all want to know. Nice, we all want to know, but we like going in surprise, don't we? I think.
Yeah. I'd love to go into Last Jedi knowing nothing at all.
Well, the only other thing to discuss, I think, is John Boyega had this random armband on, which I couldn't see what it said, but there's a photo here, and it actually says D3AD or Dead, and I don't know if this is for charity or if it's some sort of nod to something, or I don't know. What do you think, chaps?
No idea.
No idea either.
with something like this, I think you have to be quite careful because it could be a very personal thing.
Absolutely.
And it's not something that everybody wore. So it's not like a Carrie Fisher tribute, because everyone would have done something like that. So either it's a fashion choice, but it looks much more like a personal thing, which he didn't reveal, which is obviously something he doesn't have to do. So.
And so, just finally, let's talk about disappointments. What would you like to have seen more of that they didn't show at the Star Wars Celebration 2017? John?
I think I was a victim of my own high expectations, that I expected them to announce a third anthology film, because after Rogue One did so well and they're currently filming the Han Solo movie, I expected Ewan McGregor to wander on stage, full, Obi-Wan Kenobi gear, and just say hello there, which he does very well, and there to be this whole thing about coming in 2020, Kenobi, a Star Wars story. I thought that would have been perfect. There are rumors that he has a bit of a role in episodes 8 and 9, therefore they're not going to focus on it, but it's one of those things that 2 years ago, when they announced the Han Solo film, or a year ago when they announced Han Solo film, there was Josh Trank was going to be there to announce what we think was a Boba Fett one, and that would have been fantastic. Just here's the next lot of Star Wars films to look forward to. Start the hype train a move in, but there was nothing here at all, and I was quite disappointed that again they had no reason to do that. It was all about the Last Jedi and the 40th anniversary, but I kind of wanted to see something like that. That was my biggest disappointment. Scott, what about you?
Did you have anything?
Mine would have been on the Han Solo movie. I thought they would have been a lot more made of the Han Solo movie as they're filming at the moment. We saw that very early cast photo that was just them, in their normal gear rather than Star Wars gear, a few months ago. But nothing since. And the only reason I thought there would be something is because it's out quite soon. It's not out at the normal Christmas release. It's out next May, isn't it? So it's earlier than all the ones that have come before. I wasn't expecting like a trailer or anything, but just like the first image of him as Han Solo, or him and Donald Glover together,
or a name of the film, or anything like that.
The actual official name, which is probably just going to be Han Solo, a Star Wars story or something. But yeah, you did, yeah, or like a teaser poster that was just as you say, the Star Wars Jedi, with just the logo, very cool logo on the space background, and the date of release. But I thought there would be something, because I know that they're filming, but I thought there would be at least something. There was a prime opportunity to just put out the first image. But again, they've kept things quiet in the past, and they're keeping the cards close to their chest.
And they know what they're doing, don't they?
Again, and they know what they're doing, and everyone's going to be excited by it. But I thought there would have been at least something to do with, if they'd have had like a very short Q&A with one of the directors or something, just something to kind of tease everybody. That was the only
I think if they
thing that I was.
They can't go small with these things. If they were going to have one director just do a small Q&A, they'd need to get everybody else in as well, I think.
Very true.
You're right.
Awesome, cool. Well, that's our thoughts on The Last Jedi and the Star Wars Celebration. It was obviously an absolutely packed weekend, but do let us know what your favourite thing was from the weekend. Let us know anything that we've missed on Star Wars Celebration that you'd like to share with other people in the comment sections. And yeah, as always, we want this to be a discussion, so we'd love to hear from you. We've got interviews from the panels, from after the panels, and we've got the panels themselves all on our YouTube channel, so check those out. And we look forward to seeing you next time on the next Mouth Off Vidcast. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye now. See you later.
Perfect.
May the Force be with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey,